I have some questions for County Counsel. Mr. Niblin, in your view, can the board legally remove the sheriff from office today?
Yes. My view is, having considered the applicable authorities, the facts, if the board, the board can in fact take action today to remove the sheriff if the board deems such action warranted based on the administrative record.
And if the board decided to remove the sheriff, would the sheriff's removal be consistent with Measure A amendment to the county charter?
Yes.
And if the board decided to remove the sheriff, would the sheriff's removal be consistent with California law?
Yes, I believe it would be.
So it's a technical question, but is the board authorized to remove the sheriff from office today?
Yeah, for all the reasons that I've already stated, yes.
And has County Counsel reached a conclusion whether or not I personally or Supervisor Corzo have any legal conflict that would prevent us from participating in the board's deliberation of whether or not to remove the sheriff?
Well, I've assessed the applicable law and the facts here, and I conclude that no supervisor, including yourself or Supervisor Corzo, has any legal conflict that would prevent any of them from participating in the board's proceedings. So I think you, Supervisor Corzo, the board as a whole, can proceed today.
And has County Counsel reached a conclusion whether or not I or Supervisor Corzo or any supervisor have any legal conflict that would prevent us from voting on whether or not to remove the sheriff?
I have reached a conclusion on that, and again, I don't believe that any supervisor, yourself, Supervisor Corzo, any member of the board has a conflict that would prevent you from voting on this matter today.
All right, so it's a technical question, but are we all authorized to vote whether or not to remove the sheriff today?
I believe you are.
Okay, Mr. President, I personally am ready to vote on this item.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Mueller. Are there any other questions or comments? Supervisor Speier.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is the end of a tragic, destructive, and grossly expensive chapter in San Mateo County history. I had high hopes for Sheriff Corpus. I voted for her. I held a town hall with her on crime prevention. She had great ideas to modernize the office. So it's tragic to see her time as sheriff come down to this. After 36 witnesses who testified under oath, 174 exhibits, and 55 hours of testimony, retired Judge Emerson determined there were 4 causes to remove the sheriff. The first cause, conflict of interest. Quote, the evidentiary record supports a finding that the sheriff and Mr. INJ were in a close relationship outside the boundaries of a professional working relationship. Judge Emerson concludes that, quote, Sheriff Corpus elevated her own interest in the close personal relationship she held with Mr. INJ above her obligation to appoint, recruit, select, and or retain based on merit and in conformity with the principles of equal opportunity. There was a stunning revelation in the hearing that the sheriff asked the County Human Resources Department to create a position for Mr. INJ that had a high salary. And when he was offered a salary of $73 an hour, which is the equivalent of about $150,000 a year, the sheriff said, quote, that's not enough, or that's not good enough, unquote. So she continued to pursue a new title for Mr. INJ that put him at over $250,000 a year. Equal opportunity was flagrantly ignored further because the position was unposted and only Mr. INJ applied. In the arrest of Deputy Sheriff Tapia, Judge Emerson concluded that the Sheriff Corpus lacked probable cause, that she had, quote, no reasonable reason to believe that the Deputy Tapia was guilty of a charge of time card fraud, unquote. Further, Judge Emerson finds that the sheriff subjected Deputy Tapia to punitive action and imposed reprisals on him as the elected representative of the Deputy Sheriff's Association. To abuse one's office by filing false accusations and falsely arresting them is nothing short of repugnant and corrupt. We do not do that in San Mateo County. We are committed to equal justice under the law. The question before us is, has there been a violation of any law related to the performance of the sheriff's duties? Judge Emerson believes these and other violations have been committed by Sheriff Corpus. I agree. In my view, Sheriff Corpus lost her sense of purpose and put Mr. INJ above the vocal opposition to him among the ranks of her deputies, and in so doing, permanently damaged her relationship with those she was charged to lead. It's a tragedy, a real tragedy. I will vote to terminate the sheriff.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Speier, are there any additional comments? Vice Chair Corzo.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to take a moment to recognize that this is a historic vote for our county and for the state of California. And I personally could never have imagined that this would be the history that Christina Corpus would make in our county. I, like many others, gave Christina Corpus the benefit of the doubt on many occasions, and looking back, far more times than I should have. This removal process has been based on fair procedures and evidence to determine whether there is cause to remove a sheriff, in this case, Christina Corpus, from office. Christina Corpus and her legal representatives have had more than enough time and opportunity to speak their piece. What they have been unable to do is provide anything beyond empty words. They could have completely refuted any and all allegations with hard facts and supporting evidence, but because they have been unable to do so, they have only continued deflecting, denying, and dividing. I want to acknowledge the deep harm this has caused in our community. We have heard from some members of the public today that they believe we rushed this process, while others stated that this process has taken far too long. It's clear we've all been impacted, but obviously to different extents. To everyone who has been harmed, please know that my heart goes out to you. As someone who worked hard to elect Christina Corpus as sheriff, I take responsibility for misguiding our community, although I continue to believe in the values and progress that led me to supporting Ms. Corpus at the time. As the first Latinas making history by being elected to our respective roles, I had high hopes for what we could achieve together. I, like many others, wanted Christina Corpus to be successful. The power to remove a sheriff is not one that the public entrusted us with lightly, and it's something that I think each and every one of us takes very seriously. It's a responsibility. It's a duty. Before I wrap up, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the thoughtfulness and care and professionalism on the part of all county staff who have worked tirelessly to lead our community through this chaos. Our county attorney's office, Chief Keene, former judges Cordell and Emerson, county staff, and many others who worked through this exhaustive process. And especially all of our sheriff's office staff. To the women who worked directly under Victor Añez, I'm sorry for everything that you had to endure. To Carlos Tapia, president of the Deputy Sheriff's Union, who was arrested on false charges. And former Captain Brian Phillip, who, when face to face with blatant corruption, would rather turn in his gun and badge than participate. I'm sorry for what each and every one of you went through. And I want to thank the public for trusting us with this decision. And I want to thank those who have engaged respectfully and patiently, and who have been willing to believe facts when they're presented with them, and who were willing to admit that they too were fooled. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Although we may not all agree, we are all part of this community, and we will all continue to be part of this community after this vote takes place. Marks the end of one part of our duty as a board, and the other will begin soon, and that is to repair the harm and rebuild trust in the sheriff's office and in our community with our residents. I know that we are committed to continuing our work, and with that, I am prepared to fulfill my duty under the charter and vote based on the evidence presented in the established record. Thank you.
Supervisor Gauthier.
No, thank you. I inherited this issue, but I take the responsibility seriously. When you think about leadership, accountability and integrity means the world to me. For myself, I have to be who I say I am when no one else is watching. And that's what I expect of electeds as well. This moment is difficult, but it is also defining. So I too am ready. I've heard from my colleagues and listening to all of the evidence. I too am ready at this point to take a vote.
Great, thank you.
Supervisor Camp, I just have one more housekeeping item. So I didn't state it, but I do want to say that my vote today is based solely on the totality of the administrative record created pursuant to Article 4, Section 412.5 of the County Charter. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, colleagues. This has been one of the most serious and difficult matters probably ever to come before this board. The decisions before us today is unprecedented in state's history. No Board of Supervisors has removed a sheriff from office. But when San Mateo County voters overwhelmingly approved Measure A earlier this year by 84%, they made it clear they wanted strong oversight, transparency, and accountability from their elected sheriff. Measure A gives this board the authority to act when clear and convincing evidence shows misconduct. That is exactly what we have here. After a 10-day public appeal hearing conducted by retired Judge James Emerson, during which 36 witnesses testified under oath and 174 exhibits were admitted, the hearing officer concluded in a 42-page advisory opinion that the county has cause to remove Sheriff Corpus for multiple serious violations. Judge Emerson found 4 independent causes for removal, each one on its own sufficient to meet the legal threshold. 1, conflict of interest stemming from the sheriff's close personal relationship with a subordinate, Victor IMJ, which compromised her judgment and violated the county charter. 2, retaliation against Deputy Sheriff's Association President Carlos Tapia, including directing his unlawful arrest without probable cause. 3, retaliation against Captain Brian Phillip, a veteran officer who refused to carry out an order he believed to be unlawful. 4, a repeated pattern of conduct that placed personal interests over public duty, undermining trust within the sheriff's office and the community it serves. This board does not take this action lightly. The sheriff and her counsel have been afforded every opportunity to respond through the independent investigation, the pre-removal conference, and a full appeal hearing presided over by a respected retired judge. This process, and make no mistake about it, has been transparent, deliberate, and fair at every step. Our duty today is to uphold the public's trust. The people of this county deserve a sheriff's office that operates with honesty, professionalism, and accountability, free of conflicts and retaliation. Removing an elected official is never easy, but allowing misconduct to continue unchecked would do this organization greater harm. So for the integrity of the sheriff's office, for the protection of our employees, and for the trust of the public, I support the resolution before us today to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office for cause under Section 412.5 of the county charter. So, colleagues, I don't know.
Supervisor Canepa, I need to just interject real quick because I think you may have misspoke.
Yes.
County Counsel Niblin, I believe Supervisor Canada applied the clear and convincing standard, but that's not what we're operating under today, correct?
There's not a requirement that there be clear and convincing evidence. The hearing officer found by a preponderance of the evidence, which is the standard that we're dealing with here, that there was cause, but clear and convincing is not the standard.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the clarification. Supervisor Mueller, are there any additional questions or comments? All right. We've had the opportunity for questions and for discussion. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution which does in summary the following? Receives the advisory written opinion of the hearing officer, finding that the county has cause to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office. Confirms the Board of Supervisors' independent review of the hearing officer's opinion and the administrative record, and determining by preponderance of the evidence that there is cause to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office. Makes a final decision to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office for cause pursuant to Section 412.5 of the San Mateo County Charter. Declares that the Board of Supervisors adopts as its own the rationale of the hearing officer in finding cause for removal. Approves the letter of County Counsel as the final decision after removal hearing, making Sheriff Christina Corpus removal final and effective immediately. Establishes the administrative record. Again, as has been noted, pursuant to the procedures adopted by this board, this action requires a 4/5 vote of the board. Do I have a motion on this item?
So moved.
Second?
May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sure. And this is to approve all of the subheadings, so I'll go ahead and take the roll call vote. Supervisor Speier,
Aye.
Supervisor Corzo,
Yes, and I would ask that Christina Corpus's attorneys return this challenge coin to her that she gave me years ago.
Supervisor Mueller,
Yes.
Supervisor Gauthier,
Yes.
President Canepa.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you very much. Through the county attorney, I understand that there is something additional that you would like to add at this time. Could you please go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to share that in a conversation I had with counsel for the sheriff, he had informed me of his view, that a separate view taken after the board finds that there is cause to remove the sheriff is needed to reflect the board's review and approval of the final decision after removal hearing. While I believe that one vote on a single motion that included approval of the final decision after removal hearing is sufficient, such as the vote that the board just took, in an abundance of caution, I am asking the board to consider and vote on another separate motion, and the motion would be to this effect. It would be specifically that having determined that there is cause to remove the sheriff, and after having voted to remove her, the board has cause to be prepared the written final decision after removal hearing, which provides the board's rationale in support of its vote finding cause to remove the sheriff, and that the board has reviewed and approves the final decision after removal hearing, which is set forth in the letter of county counsel included in the agenda packet, making Sheriff Corpus's removal final and effective immediately. So I would ask somebody to please make that motion.
Is there a supervisor who wants to make that motion?
Yes, I would make that motion following what our county attorney has stated.
Is there a second?
Second?
All right, roll call, please.
Supervisor Speier,
Aye.
Supervisor Corzo,
Yes.
Supervisor Mueller,
Yes.
Supervisor Gauthier,
Yes.
President Canepa.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. Colleagues, county attorney, anything else?
Nothing further.
This concludes our meeting for today, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
The time is now 12:49 p.m. and we are adjourned.